Graph Inc. is your printing solution nationwide and the only place I do my printing business. Hello everyone, it's me, Joey Dean. When I need business cards, flyers, banners, or even just graphic design, I call my friends at Graph Inc. They can print you pretty much anything and have it arrive at your door in short order. Scale tickets, carbon sheets, or whatever you need printed. The professionals at Graph Inc. will make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. They're a 24/7 printer too, so don't worry if it's 7 p.m. on a Friday. They will still make sure you're taken care of. Find them online at gigc.us. The only place I trust for my printing needs is Graph Inc. When you need shirts, screen printing, vinyl, sublimation, decals, or direct-to-film prints, you should always shop local. That's where the Shirt Shack comes in. Give them a call at 785-250-2479 and get your merch, team shirts, or logos printed off by the professionals at the Shirt Shack. It's even as easy as communicating through email. You can message them at shirtshackprinting@gmail.com. That's shirtshackprinting@gmail.com. Get off Amazon and support a local business. Contact the Shirt Shack today.
And the pitch. Swung on and hit through the hole. Woodley rounding third. He's going to come in. The throw to the plate is not in time. The Garden City Wind have locked it off.
Your Garden City Wind are back-to-back Mountain North champs, and they have nothing but home games the rest of the regular season and the first round of the playoffs. Get your tickets now by going to GardenCityWin.com or make plans to bring everyone out to the ballpark and get tickets at the gate. Don't miss another minute of what's been a historic season and help cheer on the boys all the way to the Pecos League Championship. See the full schedule at GardenCityWin.com and get tickets today.
If you need a place to cash your paycheck or are looking for a little extra cash, stop by AAA Pawn and Armory. AAA Pawn and Armory has a wide selection of slightly used items such as TVs, guitars, golf clubs, tools, jewelry, and more. They also have a large inventory of rifles, shotguns, and handguns, as well as ammo in stock. So whether you are looking for your next firearm, TV, or other item, or you just need to cash a check or pawn something for a little extra money, don't go anywhere but AAA Pawn and Armory, 132 West Kansas Avenue in Garden City.
That's right. What up, bench warmers? It is Rat in the Pine, presented by AAA Pawn and Armory right here on Dry River Radio. Joey Dean hanging out with you on a Friday. Glad to be with you. Flying solo today. Have about a million things going on between me, Rob, and Steve, and so just doing a solo show today. I haven't done one of these in a while. It'd be nice. It's kind of cool to every once in a while just do it solo and remember the roots of this show. It started way back in like 2018, I think it was, with JB Surge and myself, and for a long time I did games by myself too. I did the show by myself a number of times, and so I get kind of good to do that every once in a while. The show is brought to you by AAA Pawn and Armory, 132 West Kansas Avenue in Garden City. Go check them out. Cash your paycheck there. I do that all the time with the gig checks that I get for playing shows or DJing or whatever. I go to AAA Pawn and Armory. You get a pawn buck and you get a 2-liter bottle of soda. Don't be like me. I forgot to grab my 2-liter bottle of soda the other day. I've been bummed out about it ever since. So get another chance next week, I guess, and I'll have to remember to get my RC Cola, my Cherry RC, man. That's the one I usually go with. That's good stuff. But you can go to AAA Pawn and Armory. They got a great selection of things. Jewelry, the ring that my wife wears, I bought at AAA Pawn and Armory. Guitars, there's a couple of guitars on the wall here at the Graph Inc. Studios that I got at AAA Pawn and Armory. Great stuff there. Go check them out. 132 West Kansas in Garden City. We're going to talk about the Royals to start things off here today, and then we'll kind of follow in to talking about the Garden City Wind and a number of other things before we get to the picks at the end of the show. But we start with the Royals, who right now are borderline, I guess, is the best way to put it when it comes to where they sit, buyers or sellers here at the trade deadline, which is coming up rapidly here at the end of the month. But right now, the Royals sit at 50 and 53 9.5 games back of the Detroit Tigers. When you look at the wild card, which is what they're going to be playing for, they are 4.5 games back of a wild card spot. Minus 22 in run differential. You don't want to see that, but they haven't given up a lot of runs. The problem is the Royals don't score runs. That is the biggest problem with the Royals right now. So if they were to make moves at the trade deadline, you would hope that it would be in adding some offensive firepower, especially in the outfield. Their outfield is just horrendous when it comes to scoring runs. Vinny Pasquantino's played well at first base. Salvador Perez is starting to hit the ball well. In fact, we'll talk extensively about Salvi here in just a minute. But the Royals as a whole, 5-5 in their last 10. That's not really what you want to see at this point in the year. You want to see them doing a lot better than that. They took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. Now they get the Guardians, who they're a game and a half back of in the standings. They need to put some wins together and do so in a hurry here in the next couple of days before the trade deadline on the 31st. But really, when you look at it, J.J. Piccolo has already said, he has no interest in moving some of the core pieces. There's interest in Pasquantino. There's interest in Miguel Garcia. But he's not going to move those guys, nor should he. You don't want to sell the farm right now when you still got a window open in the future. Guys that haven't been hitting, though, Tyler Gentry, MJ Melendez, still inconsistent. It might be time to cut bait on Melendez, to be honest with you. He's had a number of years now to have that opportunity to be the guy, and he just has not come through. Tyler Tolbert and John Rave, they're improving a little bit, but there's still a need for offensive firepower for the Kansas City Royals, and they hurt themselves early in the year with some losing streaks. They've got to recover from that, and like I said, right now they start Apple TV Plus tonight is the game at 7:10, first pitch between the Royals and the Guardians from the K, and they need to beat the Guardians. They need to do this. They need to catch Cleveland and get back into the mix here, because right now, as things stand, they are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, the 4th team outside of the wild card spot. Somehow Boston has put it together and played well enough to get into that final wild card spot at 55-49 are the Red Sox. But you got the Rangers, the Rays, the Guardians all in front of you. You can get rid of one of them by beating the Guardians. Just take 2 out of 3 at least. But if you can get all of them, that's even better. But the Royals, lots of work to do. It starts with the offense, and right now Salvador Perez has been playing very, very well. If you remember a couple of years ago when he had that career year, I was calling for the Royals to trade him. I still stand by that statement, by the way. They'd have gotten a haul for him, and it might have sped this process up a little bit on trying to rebuild this franchise and be a consistent winner. If the Tampa Bay Rays can consistently win ball games, why can't the Kansas City Royals? That's the big question. Tampa can't even draw fans, even when they win. They were played in a freaking World Series and they still can't draw fans. The Royals, they draw fans when they win. That town loves them when they win. And that's something that they haven't done the last few years. There is hope. They made the playoffs. They snuck into the playoffs last year. That could be another recipe this year where they sneak in. And it'd be great to see if they did do it. But they're going to have to do something here at the trade deadline, and that might be moving one of their better pitchers to get a bat. The pitching's been great, and that's the thing that's carried them so far. But moving Seth Lugo is not a bad idea. Lugo, he has a player option worth $15 million for next year. I don't think that he. I mean, he wants to be in Kansas City. He's said that. In fact, he was quoted saying, "I want to be here through thick and thin. It's a good clubhouse. It's a good team. We just got to be more consistent. Keep playing like we can. We'll be all right." But the question is, if you want to build a sustainable franchise, there's arms out there Seth Lugo is not the guy that you just hold on to. He's not a Steven Strasburg. He's not a Jason Verlander or Clayton Kershaw. You don't just hold on to Seth Lugo because he's your best pitcher. You move him at this point if you're the Kansas City Royals. I firmly believe that they can move him and still be a contender because they can move him and get something back. They can find somebody and get a quality bat back. And those options exist out there. And there's teams that have inquired about Lugo. You don't want to set the price too high, but you got to know what you got as well. And it's got to be an even trade if you're the Royals. And that's, the direction that they're looking right now. If they want to stay in this playoff race, they're going to have to do something like that. I mentioned Salvador Perez playing a lot better than he did at the start of the year. He struggled to start the year. He's hit a lot better of late. And there's a number of different questions regarding Salvador Perez. He's got a $13.5 million option. It's a club option for next year. If the Royals were to decline it, it'd be a $2 million buyout. I don't think that they're going to decline it. They're going to hit that option, and I think they probably sign him to an extended deal for another couple of years just because he is that franchise. He is the heart and soul of that team, and they know that. And he has done a great job over the years with all sorts of different pitchers, helping to revive careers. We saw Rich Hill take the mound the other night for the 6,000th team that he's played for. I remember Rich Hill when he first came up as a Cub, because I'm a huge Cubs fan. And I remember when he first came up as a Cub, I ended up having it on my fantasy team. And that was back in like 2005. And here he is 20 years later, dealing for 5 innings for the Kansas City Royals. Guys like Rich Hill aren't going to be the answer long term, but they get you there now. And the Royals have done a really good job over the years of taking guys as reclamation projects, Irvin Santana being one of them, and them reviving their career. Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, they've played very, very well as starters for the Kansas City Royals after struggling elsewhere. And so there's arms out there. The Royals have proven that they can get arms and they can have them play at a high level. There's nothing wrong with moving Seth Lugo right now. That does not mean that the Kansas City Royals are sellers unless they just get minor league talent back. If they trade him for a major league ready or major league proven veteran bat that can hit the damn ball, that's the thing that they need. They need somebody, an outfielder, that can hit the ball. And they need to plug that into the offense. This offense needs to have a spark. We thought that having Caglione move up was going to provide that spark. He's doing all right. In the end, he's going to be great. I firmly believe that. I think he's on the Bobby Witt Jr. track. He's not going to be quite as good as Bobby Witt Jr., but he's going to be one step below, I think, throughout his entire career, and that's great. The Royals have that. They have Pasquantino, who's hitting well. They have other guys, Maikel Garcia, hitting well. But they need another bat. They need more firepower. Talking about Salvador Perez, he's at 291 home runs for his career. The club record is 317 career home runs set by George Brett when he retired in 1993. I was kind of surprised when I was looking at all this. You have guys like Mike Sweeney only hit 197. Sweeney was plagued by injuries, especially late in his career. But you had Sweeney. You had Amos Otis with 193. Alex Gordon only had 190 home runs. Those numbers kind of surprised me. I thought all those guys were in the 200s. Salvia at 291, though. I think he gets to 300, which there was a completely separate conversation that I was kind of monitoring the other day. I think it was on MLB.com or something like that. But talking about, is Salvador Perez a Hall of Fame catcher? And I think if he gets to 300 home runs, which he should, he only needs 9 more, I think he is. You look at all the defensive metrics, the offensive. He's a World Series MVP. I mean, you just go down the list. The longevity of his career. I think there's such a dearth of catchers in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, which is just baffling. Some of the guys that aren't in the Hall of Fame, but I think that you're going to see that change a little bit moving forward, and I think Salvador Perez should be one of those guys. He's definitely a Royals Hall of Famer, but I think he's a Major League Baseball Hall of Famer once he gets to 300 home runs. I do think that he's going to stick around for this year and probably next year with the Royals, and he'll get to 318. He'll pass George Brett and get to that record for the franchise in home runs. And then the next guy that would be behind him would be Bobby Witt Jr., who's nearing 100 home runs for his career. And he's going to end up, if he has a decently long playing career, he's going to end up breaking that record, I think. But Salvador Perez being the career leader in home runs, that sounds pretty good if you're the Kansas City Royals, and he's not that far away from it right now, 291. And like I said, once he gets to 300, I think that he's going to be very, very close to a lock for the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. And he should be. He's had an incredible career with the Kansas City Royals. But that doesn't change the fact of where the Royals sit right now on the outside looking in of the Major League Baseball playoffs. 3 games under 500 at this point in the season is just not good. You got 59 games left. You got to do a lot better. You got to play 600 ball the rest of the way. You got to flip that around when it comes to the run differential. You need to be plus 22, not minus 22, and that's going to come at the deadline. They're going to have to find an offensive spark for this team. If you're moving Lugo or Chris Bubich or somebody like that, you've got options of guys that you can move to get a major league quality bat. So we'll see what the Royals do over the next couple of weeks, but right now they're just borderline. They're middle of the road team. And we expected a lot more from the Royals this year. A lot of people were picking the Royals to win the division. Detroit, I mean, good gracious. Detroit's incredible. That's a very scary team as you get closer and closer to the postseason. Toronto's played fantastic of late. They've got a 4.5 game lead on the Yankees in the East now. You got 4 teams in the East contending for a playoff spot because the Rays are a game and a half out of a spot. Right now behind the Boston Red Sox. So the Rays are right there in the conversation. The Guardians have played pretty well of late to get themselves back into second place. And the Royals just kind of middling. Out west, it's the Astros. The Mariners have kind of played decent, 7 of the last 10 that they've won. But they were controlling the West for a while, and then the Astros took it over. It's 2-team battle with them. The Rangers are hanging around, but I just don't feel like the Rangers are going to stick around long term out there in the West. The Royals have got some work to do. There's no doubt about that at all whatsoever. And as the trade deadline approaches, they've got some tough decisions to make. And I have faith in J.J. Piccolo and everybody in the front office with the Kansas City Royals. I like what they've done so far. There's some guys that haven't panned out that they've drafted. There's some guys that have surprised that they've been able to pick up. And so right now, I'm just going to put my faith in the front office of the Kansas City Royals because, let's face it, this is a lot more fun than 2 years ago or 3 years ago when they were losing 100 games. This is a whole lot more fun. They're not going to lose 100 games this year. That's awesome. That shouldn't be the bar, though. The bar should be the playoffs, getting that wild card, especially with that third wild card added. It makes it a little bit easier to come up with that wild card. But right now they're on the outside looking in. They did take 2 of 3 from my Cubs, who are playing very, very well, but they dropped 2 of 3 to the Marlins. How do you do that? How does that happen? You got to keep losing teams losing, and the Royals. It's hit and miss. They kind of, we talk about it about the Garden City Wind every once in a while, that they sometimes play down to their opponents. And it kind of feels like the Royals do that in a sense, but their offense just isn't that good. And that's the big problem. The Royals have scored 385 runs this year. That is the second worst in the American League. The only team that scored fewer is the Rangers. Now, the good thing is they've only given up 363 runs, and that's the best in the American League. So that's great. But they got a losing record at home, and they just don't score runs. And there's got to be an answer. They've got to figure out how to work that Rubik's Cube and get another bat moving forward, because that's what the Kansas City Royals are going to need is offense. And if you have to get rid of an arm, if you have to lose Bubic, if you got to lose Lugo, if you lose somebody like that, there's other guys that can fill in. Like I said, they've proven that they can take guys off a scrap heap and turn them into viable starters. The coaching staff, the pitching coaching staff is fantastic for the Royals. And so I have faith that they can do that. But right now they need to find some offense. And that is the number one priority, or sell. There's nothing wrong with selling either. It dashes everybody's hopes for this year. But if you're selling to build for next year, you got to have a plan. You can't just buy or sell because of what your record is. You got to have a plan, long-term plan in place. You're not just thinking about the rest of the 2025 season if you're the front office of the Kansas City Royals. You're thinking about 2026, 2027. You've got a player option or a club option with Salvador Perez next year. But, how much longer? He's 36 years old. How much longer is his body going to hold out? How much longer are you going to have that mainstay of the franchise? You've got to have guys that can step in and take that role. Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be that guy that takes the face of the franchise role, but you've got to have a way to replace the offense that Perez gives you year in and year out. You've got to have a better outfield. The outfield is horrendous batting wise. Defensively they're good, but at the plate they're awful, and that's what you need to address. And for whatever reason, for a lot of years, even their World Series years in 14 and 15, they had holes in the outfield. You had Gordon and Kane, but then question mark in right field most of the time. For whatever reason, the Royals just can't figure out the offense. They have guys at first base that can hit the ball. You had Billy Butler, you had Carlos Santana, you have Vinny Pasquantino now. You have a quality catcher in Salvador Perez, who splits time at first as well. You've got the infield pretty much figured out. The pitching staff pretty much figured out. The outfield, they can't figure out for whatever freaking reason. And that's what they're going to have to address here. And we'll see what they do over the next few days. Love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to text the chat line. 620-222-0898 is the number. 222-0898. Feel free to shoot us a text and or comment on Facebook, either one. And we'll be happy to hear your thoughts on what the Royals should do or what you think they're going to do. And, is this season lost? That's the real question. Is this a lost season and you just focus on next year? 4.5 games out of a wild card spot right now. That's not ideal. But they've got the Guardians. They can make up some ground here and get back ahead of them by the end of this series. And if they can do that, I'll feel a whole lot better about the Royals come the trade deadline. We're going to talk about the Garden City Wind, the Pecos League as a whole, as playoff time is upon us. Don't forget that tonight is Ladies' Night at the ballpark. $1 beers for all the ladies during the game against the Blackwell Flycatchers. The game will start at 6 o'clock tonight instead of 6:30, so make sure you note that. But it will start at 6 o'clock because following it, we'll have a glow game between the Garden City Fire Department, the Garden City Police Department, and that's going to be a 3-inning game. It'll be $1 beers for everybody during that. We tested the glow lights last night. Really cool. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you come out. I'm going to be commentating, umpiring, and maybe pitching too. I don't know. We'll see how it all works out. But it's going to be a ton of fun at the light tonight. 6 o'clock first pitch for the first game, and then the glow game will follow that after we get everything set up. So we'll take a break. We'll come back, look at your Pecos League recap, and then talk a little bit about the Pecos League. This is Riding the Pine, presented by AAA Pawn and Armory on Dry River Radio. Graph Inc. is your printing solution nationwide and the only place I do my printing business. Hello everyone, it's me, Joey Dean. When I need business cards, flyers, banners, or even just graphic design, I call my friends at Graph Inc. They can print you pretty much anything and have it arrive at your door in short order. Scale tickets, carbon sheets, or whatever you need printed. The professionals at Graph Inc. will make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. They're a 24/7 printer too, so don't worry if it's 7 p.m. on a Friday. They will still make sure you're taken care of. Find them online at gigc.us. The only place I trust for my printing needs is Graph Inc. When you need shirts, screen printing, vinyl, sublimation, decals, or direct-to-film prints, you should always shop local. That's where the Shirt Shack comes in. Give them a call at 785-250-2479 and get your merch, team shirts, or logos printed off by the professionals at the Shirt Shack. It's even as easy as communicating through email. You can message them at shirtshackprinting@gmail.com. That's shirtshackprinting@gmail.com. Get off Amazon and support a local business. Contact the Shirt Shack today.
If you need a place to cash your paycheck or are looking for a little extra cash, stop by AAA Pawn and Armory. AAA Pawn and Armory has a wide selection of slightly used items such as TVs, guitars, golf clubs, tools, jewelry, and more. They also have a large inventory of rifles, shotguns, and handguns, as well as ammo in stock. So whether you are looking for your next firearm, TV, or other item, or you just need to cash a check or pawn something for a little extra money, don't go anywhere but AAA Pawn and Armory, 132 West Kansas Avenue in Garden City.
And the pitch. Swung on and hit through the hole. Woodley rounding third. He's going to come in. The throw to the plate is not in time. The Garden City Wind have locked it off.
Your Garden City Wind are back-to-back Mountain North champs, and they have nothing but home games the rest of the regular season and the first round of the playoffs. Get your tickets now by going to GardenCityWind.com or make plans to bring everyone out to the ballpark and get tickets at the gate. Don't miss another minute of what's been a historic season and help cheer on the boys all the way to the Pecos League Championship. See the full schedule at GardenCityWind.com and get tickets today. And with your Pecos League recap for games played July 24th, I'm your host, Joey Dean. We start in California. Bakersfield at Dublin, a battle for second place in the Pacific. Bottom of the second inning, Carson Richter with a solo home run makes it 3-0 in favor of the Dublin Leprechauns, his third home run of the year. Top of the third inning, Joe Riddle with a 2-run single. That makes it 4-3 in favor of the Bakersfield Train Robbers. Bottom of the eighth, Carson Richter at it again as he hits this 3-run bomb, his fourth of the year. That closed the gap to 7-6, but Bakersfield would hold on and win it by that score. That ends Dublin's 10-game win streak. Bakersfield has now won 6 in a row. Next we go to the number 1 team in the Pacific, hosting Monterey, San Rafael. Bottom of the fourth, RBI double from Kyle Guerrera makes it 6-1 in favor of San Rafael. That's part of a 6-run fourth inning. Bottom of the eighth, Mark Hernandez with an RBI double. That'll make it 11-2 in favor of the Pacifics. And a little bit later in the inning, John Bicos hits an RBI single to make it 16-2 in favor of San Rafael. They would go on to win it 16-2 over Monterey, and they now have a 2-game lead over Bakersfield, 2.5 over Dublin. In the Mountain Division, Roswell visiting Alpine. Bottom of the first inning, James Prakash gets this little RBI single as he ends up getting to first. The throw to third goes into the dugout, and so everybody will get to move up another 90 feet, scores the run, makes it 1-0 in favor of Alpine. Bottom of the eighth, Roswell has a 2-1 lead, but John Tuttle with an RBI double, he'll tie the game at 2, and all the worst nightmares for the Roswell Invaders starting to come true, as the very next batter, Jake Sisto, with an RBI, makes it 3-2 in favor of Alpine. They would go on to score 7 runs in the inning and win this one by a score of 8-2 over the Roswell Invaders. Next we head to Nebraska as the North Platte 80s hosted Kansas City Hormigas. Bottom of the fifth inning, TJ Beninati with a 3 RBI double bust this game wide open, making it 11-1 in favor of the North Platte 80s. Beninati wasn't done in the fifth, though. Later in the same inning, he gets 2 more RBI off this single. That would make it 17-1 in favor of North Platte. And then the very next batter, Rico Riley, going to bring them all home. A 3-run home run, his 8th of the season, a 12-run 5th inning for North Platte. They'll go on to beat Kansas City 25-2. Next, we head south to Kansas as the Garden City Wind hosting Blackwell. First time these two teams have met this season, number 1 and 2 in the North. Bottom of the first, Dino Morales with a solo home run, his 3rd this season, makes it 3-0 in favor of Garden City. Bottom of the second inning, Jason Rooks with a 2-run homer, his 17th of the year, makes it 7-1 in favor of the Wind. And Dominic Inbody putting an exclamation point on things in the bottom of the 7th. A 2-run home run for him makes it 10-3 Garden City, his 5th of the season. The Wind would go on to win by that final of 10-3. Now we go to Tucson, Arizona as they hosted the Pecos Bills, the top 2 teams in the Mountain South. Logan Meyer in the bottom of the 3rd, a 2 RBI single. That'll make it 7-0 in favor of Tucson. They have played very well against Pecos down the stretch. Bottom of the 4th, Anthony Manacero with an RBI single makes it 8-0 in favor of the Saguaros. 3 batters later, Marquise Wood with a sacrifice fly makes it 9-0. Tucson would go on to win this one by a score of 13-1. They stole 13 bases in this game. They've now won 9 in a row, which is the best in the Pecos League. Elsewhere, Vallejo got 2 RBI each from Aaron Harper and Brendan Hillis as they beat Martinez 12-5. And Trinidad got 3 home runs from Levi Maslowski and 1 from Dom Pisano as they throttle Santa Fe 38-12. Join us again next time for another Pecos League recap.
If you need a place to cash your paycheck or are looking for a little extra cash, stop by AAA Pawn and Armory. AAA Pawn and Armory has a wide selection of slightly used items such as TVs, guitars, golf clubs, tools, jewelry, and more. They also have a large inventory of rifles, shotguns, and handguns, as well as ammo in stock. So whether you are looking for your next firearm, TV, or other item, or you just need to cash a check or pawn something for a little extra money, don't go anywhere but AAA Pawn and Armory, 132 West Kansas Avenue in Garden City.
Welcome back, bench warmers. It is Right in the Pine right here on Tri-River Radio. I'm your host, Joey Dean, hanging out with you here on a Friday. Happy Friday to you. Don't forget, it's ladies' night at the ballpark tonight at Clint Leitner. $1 beers for all the ladies, hosted by Gravity Wellness Spa. They're going to give away like 30 different things. It's insane, the list of things. Botox and massages, facials, pedicures, you name it. They're going to give it away tonight. So you want to come out, even if you like, say your wife's out of town. My wife's going to be out of town. I'm going to get a ticket. I'm going to pay the $10 fee to get a ticket, even though I get in free because I work there. I'm still going to pay for a ticket so that maybe I can win something for her and stay out of the doghouse. That's my one goal in life, is to stay out of the doghouse. But you can do that as well, or if you're a lady and you want to come out, $1 beers for all the ladies during the game against Blackwell Flycatchers. First pitch scheduled for 6 o'clock tonight, because the Glow game is after. That's going to be a lot of fun. You're not going to want to miss it. The police department against the fire department in a 3-inning Glow game. It's going to be fun. It's going to be crazy. Very excited about it. Like I said earlier, we tested the glow lights last night. I was putting together a little intro for when we shut down the lights. It's going to be a whole thing, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be commentating along with Randy Ralston from the field, and then Gandhi will be in the press box commentating as well, as we're just going to have a lot of fun with it. It will be streamed on Meridix, by the way, so if you can't make it, you can check that out as well. So that's tonight, Game 2 of a 3-game series against the Blackwell Flycatchers. We were kind of worried. Those of us with the Garden City win. Blackwell was a team that they hadn't played yet, and Blackwell's played really, really well all year long. Number 2 in the Mountain, and Garden City only gets 3 games against them here in the regular season, and they won Game 1 pretty handily. It's funny when you think about all this season. This is my 8th season with the Garden City Wind, and I saw the bad in 17 and 18. But every year it seems, and it doesn't matter who's the manager, whether it's David Peterson, Garrett Toddy, or Easton Barnes, every year around the start of July, for whatever reason, they falter. They struggle for about a week and a half, and it happened again this year. The team just couldn't hit the beginning of July. Just for whatever reason, this team that was putting up incredible runs just all of a sudden could not hit the baseball. It's insane because then they got it together, and now the last few nights they've just been tearing the cover off the ball. They're 3rd in the Pecos League in runs scored at 477. The 2 teams ahead of them are Tucson and Bakersfield. Both those teams have played more games, by the way. Hits-wise, Garden City is down the list a little bit, tied with Santa Fe for 5th at 552 hits. They don't hit a lot of doubles. Only 87 doubles this year, which is middle of the pack in the league. Don't hit a lot of triples. Don't hit a lot of home runs really either, even though they're 4th in the league at 52 home runs. 17 of those are Jason Rooks. This isn't a team that hits a ton of runs, but they score runs, and they do so in bunches. 407 RBI is 2nd only to Tucson in the league. So very good hitting team is Garden City. They just struggled for whatever reason for about a week and a half. And it happens every single year. And this is a tough league to play in. We see it every year, this time of year, guys that go home because they just can't hack it. You're playing, 54 games or something in 60 days, basically. That's insane. It's crazy. You're there every single day. And there aren't a lot of days off in the Pecos League. You travel. You have to go 5 hours via bus or drive yourself, depending on what team you play for. Luckily for Garden City, they have a bus. But, it's a very, very, very tough league to play the whole season. And there's guys every year that just can't do it. I was talking with the commissioner, Andrew Dunn, last night, and there's other teams that are experiencing, guys that they're bailing out. And especially if you're on a team that's not going anywhere, a Roswell or a Trinidad, you're not going to play for the playoffs. You're not picked up by a contending team. You're just trying to finish out the string for your stats, basically. It's tough to keep showing up day in and day out. And, we've seen that year after year after year, and this year's no different. And Garden City's been able to withstand the storm year after year and make it to the playoffs every year since 2019. They're back in there again this year. For the 4th time, they're Mountain North champs. They've played very, very well all season long. And when you look at the statistics pitching-wise, this team has 37 wins, which is actually one less than Tucson right now. But they have fewer losses than what Tucson does. As Tucson at 38-9, Garden City at 39-7, so they have one more win. But the pitching staff 37, and earned runs. Garden City's given up 177 earned runs. That's the best in the Pecos League. 177 in, 44 games, 45 gaes? Let's see here. 46 games. They've given up 177 runs. That's it. This pitching staff's great. They've given up just 348 hits. Again, the best in the Pecos League. The next closest, by the way, in runs given up, earned runs, San Rafael at 230. So they're almost 60 better. They're 53 better than the next closest team. That's crazy. This team's great with the pitching. And then you look at the fielding percentage, just behind Pecos, who's at 981 fielded percentage, Garden City at 975. But Garden City's had more total chances by almost 200 than Pecos has this year. They have more assists at 459, which is second again in the Pecos League. Third in the Pecos League. They have just 42 errors this year, which is second best. Pecos has just 28 errors this year. But they can, they're going to set, if everything holds the way it is, they're going to top last year's record for fielding percentage. They're going to top last year's record on runs allowed. Number of other things that that Garden City Wind are going to be topping from last year and what was a historic season. And hopefully they get to 43 wins, which would be a new franchise record. Last night, Jason Rooks hit his 17th home run of the year. That ties Cutter McDowell, who set the franchise record back in 2019. So one more home run, and Rooks will be the franchise home run leader for a single season. Lots of good things going on with the Garden City Wind right now. And you start looking at this point, if you're the Wind, you still got to get that number one overall seed. That is the number one goal. That is what you have to have, is that number one overall seed. Because you want everything coming through Garden City. You want the Mountain Division Championship Series coming through Garden City. You want the Pecos League Championship coming through Garden City. The only way to guarantee that is to have that number one overall seed. And they need 4 more wins to do so in the last 5 games, or they need Tucson to stumble at some point, which I don't think Tucson's going to do. They have been ridiculous here of late. 13 stolen bases last night for Tucson. That's a team that scares me because they can win in a multitude of different ways. They hit home runs. As a team, Tucson has hit 64 home runs, just ahead of Garden City, 12 ahead. But they do hit home runs, and they steal a ton of bases. They're a patient team like Garden City. When it comes to walks, Garden City leads the league at 373. Tucson right behind them at 352. Nobody else is close after that. This Tucson team's scary. They've stolen 196 bases so far this year. Garden City's not a team that steals a lot. They've only stolen 83. But this Tucson team, Garden City played them once and they lost. And that's the frustrating thing about that game, is it was one game. They didn't have, 3-game series to really measure against Tucson. They had one game, and it was the number 5 starter going for Garden City. It wasn't an ideal matchup. So things could be different, come the playoffs if those two teams were to meet again. But it's going to be tough in the playoffs. North Platte rattled off 25 runs last night. Blackwell is not a team, they scored 3 last night. They can put up some mad runs too. They showed their power with 2 home runs last night. And, Blackwell's got a couple of arms that are pretty good. North Platte's got a couple of arms that are pretty good. North Platte's beaten Garden City a couple times this year. So you kind of look at this and you say, okay, well, no matter who they play, they have to play in Garden City. So that's advantage Garden City. The starting pitching for Garden City is good. It's not great. It's good. It's solid. The bullpen is lights out. It is the best bullpen in the Pecos League. So you kind of look back at, the blueprint of the Royals back in 2014 and 2015. You get through 9 innings, you got the lead. You pretty much got this locked up. And the thing about Garden City is, aside from that blip of about a week and a half, they put runs on the board, and they do it in bunches. 3 runs here, 5 runs here, and all of a sudden the game's out of hand. And the difference is the teams that they're going to play from here on, aside from the 3-game series against Kansas City to end the year, which Kansas City is no slouch. They're going to keep fighting all the way. I'm very impressed with what Derek Dominguez has done in Kansas City, and there's an ongoing thing between Iola and their broadcast crew and us and our broadcast crew, and there's a nice little rivalry there. But overall, they've done a great job in Iola, and it looks like Iola is going to be the place for the Omega next year. They won't be in Kansas City. From everything that I'm seeing so far, which is good. It's going to add some stability to the league. It'll add a second Kansas team to go along with Garden City. Iola fits in the footprint. Not far from Blackwell, not really all that far from Garden City. In the same vicinity as a North Platte and even Trinidad at that point. When you start traveling to say a series in Garden City, it's not much to go to Trinidad at that point. But I think adding Iola is going to be good moving forward for the league. And that team, Derek Dominguez, has done a really good job of getting them to play out the string. They're not playing for the playoffs. They're playing for pride right now, and those guys are playing hard. And, they took Garden City to the brink the first game of the series last week, and they'll take Garden City to the brink again as we close out the season against Kansas City. But that's going to be a fun rivalry moving forward. Blackwell is one of those teams that, they got thumped a little bit last night, 10-3 against Garden City. But I expect them to come back today, and I expect them to compete. And there's going to be no gimme games when it comes to the playoffs. You're not going to have a series like, back in, 2021 when Colorado Springs was the team that Garden City faced, and they took down Springs pretty easily. It's going to be tough. North Platte, their mission, Todd Everlith, their manager, their mission this year is to beat Garden City and knock Garden City out of the playoffs. That's what they want. They've got to get by Blackwell first, but they've proven throughout the year that they can do that. It's not going to be easy come playoff time, and I think Garden City knows that. They're trying to prepare for the playoffs here over the next week, and they'll get a couple of days off while the other series plays between North Platte and Blackwell, and so they'll get a chance to rest and get the starting rotation in the order that they want it. So that's going to be a huge advantage. They're not going to have to play for a couple of days, but on the flip side of that, you could show a little bit of rust. The good thing is 2-day layoff here the last week. They had Tuesday and Wednesday off, showed up last night, put 10 runs on the board, 12 hits. They look good. So I think that the rest will do them good. It's just going to re-energize this team. And then the grind of, you're going to have 3 series in about 2 weeks if you want to win it all. And, you get to the end of the season on Tuesday and 6 wins. That's all you need. And that gets kind of daunting. 6 wins, 6 losses. That's what you gotta kind of look at it. You gotta win the first series at least. Play for the Mountain Division Championship Series. You gotta play in that and face Tucson or Pecos or Alpine, whoever it is that comes to town. But this is a team that last year we had a really good feeling about that team. And going into the series against Alpine, there was a feeling that, we can do this. And it just didn't prove to be. And so you kind of look at it this year, and you don't want to count your chickens before they're hatched or anything like that. But, you look forward to that date with an Alpine or a Tucson or a Pecos, whoever comes out of the South. And you have that circle. Because that's the one barrier that Garden City's never been able to break down. They've played 3 times for the Mountain Division Championship, and they've lost all 3. And 2 of them, I think, were at home, if I remember right. 2 of them have been at home. So to get that at home again is paramount, and get it in front of the best fans in the Pecos League, and then to have this team, which fundamentally, this is a very sound team, top to bottom. There's little things here and there that they've worked on throughout the year, and you can tell that they've worked on. And that's the encouraging thing about this team. They've learned lessons, and a lot of guys are back from last year, and they remember that feeling of losing to Alpine at Alpine. You bet that they remember that, and they are going to look forward to a chance to rectify all of that and play in front of their fans for a Pecos League championship. That would be fantastic. But still work to do. Starts tonight. They need 4 more wins to lock up that 1 seed. If they get this win over Blackwell tonight, then you can kind of afford to lose tomorrow. You don't want to, but you have breathing room at that point because Kansas City, I think they sweep Kansas City. But, it's baseball. You never know. It's the Pecos League. Anything can happen in this league, and it has happened over and over. So, Garden City in great shape right now. Guys are really hitting the ball well. It was great to see Dom Embody with a Dom bomb last night. Dino hit another dinger. Rooks hit another dinger. So it's good to see those guys starting to swing the stick well. You got guys like Brotman and Skoll, Skoll's struggling a little bit right now, but hopefully he can kind of put it together. And, this is a tough lineup. You got Brotman leading off now. Talamonte after him, who's had a fantastic year. Rooks, Embody, Morales. That's 5 that you don't want to face at any time in the game. And they're all bang, bang, bang. So it's hard to get outs against the Garden City Wind. They've proven it so far this year. Take one more break, come back, do the picks, and wrap things up. This is Riding the Pine, presented by AAA Pawn and Armory.
And the pitch. Swung on and hit through the hole. Woodley rounding third. He's going to come in. The throw to the plate is not in time. The Garden City Wind have locked it off.
Your Garden City Wind are back-to-back Mountain North champs, and they have nothing but home games the rest of the regular season and the first round of the playoffs. Get your tickets now by going to GardenCityWind.com or make plans to bring everyone out to the ballpark and get tickets at the gate. Don't miss another minute of what's been a historic season and help cheer on the boys all the way to the Pecos League Championship. See the full schedule at GardenCityWind.com and get tickets today. When you need shirts, screen printing, vinyl, sublimation, decals, or direct-to-film prints, you should always shop local. That's where the Shirt Shack comes in. Give them a call at 785-250-2479 and get your merch, team shirts, or logos printed off by the professionals at the Shirt Shack. It's even as easy as communicating through email. You can message them at shirtshackprinting@gmail.com. That's shirtshackprinting@gmail.com. Get off Amazon and support a local business. Contact the Shirt Shack today. Graph Inc. is your printing solution nationwide and the only place I do my printing business. Hello everyone, it's me, Joey Dean. When I need business cards, flyers, banners, or even just graphic design, I call my friends at Graph Inc. They can print you pretty much anything and have it arrive at your door in short order. Scale tickets, carbon sheets, or whatever you need printed. The professionals at Graph Inc. will make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. They're a 24/7 printer too, so don't worry if it's 7 p.m. on a Friday. They will still make sure you're taken care of. Find them online at gigc.us. The only place I trust for my printing needs is Graph Inc.
If you need a place to cash your paycheck or are looking for a little extra cash, stop by AAA Pawn and Armory. AAA Pawn and Armory has a wide selection of slightly used items such as TVs, guitars, golf clubs, tools, jewelry, and more. They also have a large inventory of rifles, shotguns, and handguns, as well as ammo in stock. So whether you are looking for your next firearm, TV, or other item, or you just need to cash a check or pawn something for a little extra money, don't go anywhere but AAA Pawn and Armory, 132 West Kansas Avenue in Garden City.
Welcome back, bench warmers. It is Riding the Vine, presented by AAA Pawn and Armory, right here on Dry River Radio. Joey Dean hanging out with you here on a Friday. This is the second to last show of 2025's July, as we will have one more next week, and then July will end, and we'll get into August and start preparing for high school football, as we will be covering high school football here on Dry River Radio, hoping next week when I have a little bit of time there during the wild card round of the Pecos League playoffs. Hopefully I can get a schedule put together on what games we'll be covering come high school football season. And we're not that far from the start of college football either. Looking forward to week 0. KU and K-State both playing in week 0, and very much looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting back to playing music as well. Looks like August 16th will be the day that we come back to playing music. So looking forward to all of those things coming up in August. Lots to tackle then. Lots to tackle here to finish up today's show as we go to your picks brought to you by ProTech Spraying. Check them out at protechspraying.com. Marlins at the Brewers tonight. That'll be this afternoon on MLB Network, 3:10 start time for that. I'm going to take the Brewers at home in that one. Diamondbacks at the Pirates, 5:40 start time from PNC Park. I'm going to take the Pirates in an upset of that one. Rockies at the Orioles. This is a bad team against marginally better but still bad team. Man, Rockies 26-76 on the year. That's horrible. The Orioles 45-57, still bad. But I'm going to take the Orioles in that one. Phillies at the Yankees. This will be on Apple TV Plus, 6:05 start time. I'm going to take the Phillies over the Yanks. I don't want to take the Yankees. And, I'm going to take the Phils, even though it's at Yankee Stadium. Dodgers at the Red Sox. This could be a pretty good matchup. Bello going for the Red Sox, Sheehan going for the Dodgers. I'm going to take the Red Sox. They've played very well of late. They're sitting in that final wild card spot. The Dodgers have struggled a little bit. So I'm going to take the Red Sox. Rays at Reds. Both teams 53-50 on the year. God, there's just something about the Rays every year that they've figured it out. And I just don't get, like I said earlier, I don't get how the Royals can't figure out what the Rays have figured out. But I'm going to take the Rays on the road in this one. Blue Jays at the Tigers. Blue Jays with 61-42 record. Tigers at 60-44. Should be a really good game. I'm going to take the Blue Jays, though, on the road. I just don't want the Tigers to win. I'm tired of the Tigers already. The Padres at the Cardinals. Should be another good matchup. The Cardinals surprising at 53-51. Padres 55-48. You kind of expected them to be there. I'm going to take the Padres on the road as well. Cubs and White Sox. I guess I'm just taking road teams today. Cubs and White Sox, the Crosstown Series. Played on the south side at Rate Field, and I'm going to take the Cubs. Amanga going for the Cubbies. He's on my fantasy team, so I'm all about that. Let's go. Go Cubs, go. 7:05 start time on MLB Network. Braves at the Rangers. The Braves underachieving this year. The Rangers playing some decent ball. Like I said earlier, I don't think long term that they're going to be able to keep up, but right now they're looking pretty good. I'm going to take the Rangers at home. 7:10 on Apple TV Plus. The Guardians at the Royals. Guardians 51-51. Royals 50-53. Michael Wacha going for the Royals. Williams going for the Guardians. I'm going to take Wacha and the Royals in this one. I think they take 2 out of 3 from the Guardians here and really, really make a push at the trade deadline to add some offense. The A's at the Astros. What happened to the A's? They were playing so good at the start of the year. Now at 43-62 against the Astros, who were playing bad at the start of the year. And they're 60-43 now. Give me the Stros at home in Houston. Target Field in Minnesota. That's where the Twins will host the Nationals. That'll be on MLB Network at 7:10. Give me the Nationals on the road. Mackenzie Gore going, another one of my guys on my fantasy team. So let's go Nats. Mariners at the Angels. Angels, another team that perennially underachieves. The Mariners, they've lost first place, but they're still sitting there in second in the West, in good position for the playoffs. Give me Woo and the Mariners. And then finally, 9:15 tonight, the Mets at the Giants. Should be a really good matchup there from San Francisco. Give me Logan Webb, though, and the Giants against Holmes and the Mets. In the Pecos League, Dublin at Martinez. Dublin just lost their 10-game win streak. They get back on the right side of things tonight. They beat Martinez. Monterey at San Rafael. Give me the Pacifics. Trinidad at Santa Fe. Trinidad hung 38 last night on Santa Fe. I'm predicting like 10 home runs in this game, and I think the Fuego came out on top this time. Kansas City at North Platte. Give me North Platte at home. Roswell at Alpine. Give me the Alpine Cowboys against the Invaders. Bakersfield at Vallejo. Bakersfield, they've won 6 in a row. They're hot. Give me Bakersfield. And then Pecos at Tucson. I really, really, really think that Pecos is going to take one of these from Tucson. As good as Tucson's playing, they've won 9 in a row. But give me the Pecos Bills in that one. And then Blackwell at Garden City. Give me the Garden City win. That'll do it for today's show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Feel free to check us out, as we'll have this available via podcast as well come tomorrow. And, of course, you can always rewatch it on Facebook Live. And feel free to text us at 620-222-0898 throughout the week. Let us know what you think, or if you have any questions, something you want us to talk about on the show, we can do that as well. We'll be back with you on Friday for a playoff edition of Riding the Pine. Have a great night, everyone. This is, I'll see you at about 5:30 for the pregame show for the Garden City Wind and the Blackwell Flycatchers. Until then, this has been Riding the Pine, presented by Graph Inc.